Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
We are the weirdos, mister.
Black as night, erase death from our sight. White as light, mighty hectate make it right.
I myself am strange and unusual.
Cast your circle, spark some incense, and grab a cup of tea because it's time for the Cousins Coven podcast. I'm Sharon.
And this is Wendy. Welcome back to the Coven, you guys. We're happy as always to have you here. And welcome to any new listeners out there. I saw we had a bunch of new downloads, so I was like, welcome new people.
Yay, we're so glad to be growing. It always feels good as any kind of an artist that you can be reaching a bigger audience and no, we're not just talking into the void. So that's great. So I will save some things, even though we talk all week and we've even seen each other. Like, there's just some things that I'm like, I'm just going to wait to talk about it on podcast. So, like, this is one of those things that I'm like, oh, finally I could talk about it with you. But, Wendy, I've been dying to tell you because I had my first dream where I flew. Thank you.
I'm shocked.
That's the reaction I've been looking for all week, and no one would ask for me. But if you know me or been listening to the podcast, you know that has been a goal. Like, I could never levitate or dream or astral travel, and so for me, this is growth.
That's awesome.
And kind of like what led to that is that I think I was in the hypnagogic state, which is when you're like in between awake and asleep. You're in that halfway point. Because I took this gummy. It was a Relaxia nighttime gummy. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to take it 30 minutes before you go to bed. Me, I was stubborn and thought I wouldn't really have noticed any of the effects, so I took it at 6 o'clock. And then I did this fabulous session of yin yoga, and it was so restorative and really good, and it was getting emotional baggage out and releasing all the stuff in my body. And yin yoga, if you don't know, is when you will sit in the pose for 2 to 3 minutes and you're just stretching. And it's my favorite shit ever. I love it.
That's so awesome.
After I did that, I think I was really dehydrated. I drank some water and then I just went to bed super early. And I set my clock for work and it said 12 hours. And so I literally slept for 12 hours. And it was in the morning when I started dreaming. And so I think I was kind of, like I said, in that in-between state. And what is the catalyst to my flying is kind of negative, but I laugh at it because that's the kind of person I am. But it was my ex just complaining.
And you're like, bye.
Exactly. I Peter Panned it out the window so fast. I didn't think it was within 2 seconds. I was over it. It wasn't even affecting me. Just bye, Felicia. Flew out the window and I was soaring into the sky. And this is when it it was very lucid. I chose to go out. I chose to fly. And then when I was flying, I remember doing these flips because in my mind, I was in an old property that I used to live at in Independence, Oregon with my dad or whatever. And so it was really weird. It was almost like a video game where you can't travel out of bounds. And so in the sky, I felt like I was still within that neighborhood bounds. And so I was just enjoying the sky within those limitations. But for me, I'm thinking next time, what's to stop me from going to space or flying over and astral traveling and all these things. And I just thought that was so exciting.
That is so exciting. And I love the symbolization because you're saying goodbye to that old relationship in a way too, because you're bye, I don't need you in my life anymore and I can choose to leave if I want to. I don't have to stay here.
Yeah, it's like that Nelly song, I'm like a bird, I only fly away. I totally felt like it was symbolism as well, emotionally, because it was total freedom and just choosing not to sit around with that behavior that can just feel like a cycle,
Yeah.
So it was breaking free.
Yes. I love that you had done yoga first too, because I bet that release is what was kind of the catalyst to allow you to even do it in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like it was worth mentioning that there were, I think, a couple things leading into it. And I don't know if it was the elderberry gummy, but that was what was one of the main ingredients. It's all natural. It's just elderberry and maybe some corn syrup or something. So nice. I didn't know that elderberry could have that effect on you, but it really worked to put me to sleep.
Well, I think we've talked about elderberry before, and I
We
remember
have.
that being something with giving you some sort of prophetic dream. I definitely want to
Oh.
try that. So that just released some sort of dream magic in a way, probably for you.
Hmm. Okay. Maybe oversleeping is the way to push yourself to the hypnagogic state. Although when we researched it, I think that they
Hmm.
recommended waking yourself up at intervals of
Right.
like every 2 hours. And I'm like, nah, I need my 8 hours and then we'll sleep some more.
You're like, no thanks. I can't follow your rules.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I got that. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I'm so happy for you to have experienced that.
My first waitlist dream. Yes, yes. So, what
Yes.
kind of news did you find this week?
Okay, so I have one news article and it's just very small, but was very exciting for me.
Okay.
So apparently, here in Oregon, outside of a store near Grants Pass, which is kind of in southern Oregon, it's a store called Smoky Stoves. They ended up erecting a statue of Sasquatch.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, I just thought that was so cute. It's this huge 15-foot tall carving and it
Oh.
weighs like 4,000 pounds.
Whoa.
Yes, so they had to bring it in with a crane and put it down. So there's a video if you're curious and you want to watch it, that I'll
How
link.
far away is this?
This is probably 3 hours away from us.
Okay, so one day we
Yeah.
can go see this, I think.
Yeah, but it's so cool.
I'm
Yeah.
always down for more Bigfoot decor in my
Yeah.
state. I said it
Right?
once, I'll say it again. That is one of the funnest things about returning to the Pacific Northwest is all the Bigfoot
Yeah.
artwork out there. And it's really cool because
Yeah.
the lore is a part of our artwork. It's kind of how we express
Mhm.
our belief in him and keep the legends alive. So
Right.
let's spread the
Yeah.
awareness. It's going to be a Bigfoot totem. Now, the question is, do you think Bigfoot knows and he's like flattered? Like this could be a Bigfoot altar?
He comes and he sees it and he's like, dude, they got something wrong.
My ass is not that thick. Like just annoyed.
It's like, where's my balls?
You're missing my most beautiful piece.
Right.
Yeah, like maybe you could leave offerings for him there, but I highly
Yeah.
doubt he would get them because it sounds like it's going to be in a highly populated area.
Yeah.
But I'd
Yeah.
like to think that Bigfoot would appreciate this.
Right. Okay, so today I was thinking I wanted to bring up just a couple of cauldron topics, which we haven't done in a really long time. So just a little flashback to those days.
Yes.
Which for new listeners, we used to do this segment called Cauldron Topics, and then we'd have a main topic. And now we kind of do it all.
Yes, our cauldron topic was like an episode of like what was our witchy discussion of the episode, and it's really what got us started.
Right.
And over time, I think we've just gotten more relaxed with our format. That way we can go with the flow and not worry so much about filling it with content. Because this episode, I feel like we had no content, and then all of a sudden we just have all this stuff. Like it just happens more organically than it used to.
It does. It's kind of refreshing for us because we're like, oh man, we're getting better at this, or we just really love talking about this stuff.
Yeah. But I do love the idea of bringing back a cauldron topic. So what was your idea? What is the topics?
So I have the first thing that I came across was has to do with Greek folklore. Kind of just a little backstory is that my husband and I were watching Who Wants to Be a Millionaire this week, and there was just this tiny tidbit of a question that they had about Greek folklore, and it was like there's and it was something that just I was like, I need to talk about this on podcast. So apparently in Greece, when a child loses their tooth, instead of putting it under their pillow, they throw it out their window on the rooftop for good luck.
They throw it off the rooftop?
They throw it onto the rooftop.
Oh, so, onto the rooftop.
Yeah, onto the rooftop for good luck. So they don't believe really in the tooth fairy. They just think that it will provide them good luck if their tooth is out there.
I thought that throwing it just out into the void sounded like fun, but having a cluster of children teeth on the roof is kind of creepy. But maybe it's kind of like magical, you know, because that's a bodily function. So what did they believe it would do again?
They just think that it'll bring them good luck
Okay.
to their household,
Hmm.
and then also that the new teeth will grow in just fine.
Interesting. I don't think
It
I would
was
try
really
it, but
no.
I've never even thought about using teeth as a magical ingredient because a lot of the old school magic stuff that we read about is always just like using bodily fluids and hair and nails. And I guess teeth too, right? So that does
Well,
sound a
I
little.
used
Oh,
yeah.
what were you
I
gonna say?
I was gonna say we used my kids' teeth in our angel magic, our Enochian magic.
Okay, okay. So you have, and I think you might have mentioned that to me, and I'm just now remembering.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's gross. It sounds gross, right? But we embedded it in the wax, like in the center of the seal.
Yeah. Yeah, my
Yeah,
tooth fairy was my father, and he has all of my teeth in a jar still, I'm pretty sure, which is kind of sweet but creepy.
but creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing. Like when my kids turned 18, I was like, "Here's your teeth back,"
Ah! I don't want them
and
back.
all right, and now they're like, "Okay, let's use them in magic." I'm like, "Sweet."
You know what? If I did get them back, I'd probably want to do the same. Like maybe just bury them around the perimeter of your yard and be like, "This,
Yes,
my brothers and sisters and I, our teeth are our protection." And why
that's right,
not?
for
We've kept them
sure.
for this long. Give them some sort of a
Yeah,
send off because I don't want to like hoard them forever. But I feel like I would be
right,
giving them a purpose and just letting them move on.
right. Speaking about moving on,
Oh yes.
I have. So I had an experience this week where I really wanted to delve into my past lives. So I decided to do kind of this in-depth oracle reading.
I
And it
feel
made
like
me
you
think,
haven't decided you want to look into your past life. You've been like this whole
yes,
summer or maybe more. I feel like
yeah,
it's been a real personal quest of yours.
it has been. Yeah, I'm trying to heal like old wounds so I can get over things, which has been working.
Hmm.
Like I've noticed in my life, and my kids were even saying that they no longer have certain traits, and I think that's because I've healed those past wounds of myself that led on to them.
Wow. That's really, really
Right,
cool that you could be ending that generational karma in a sense.
right, absolutely. So it feels very nice. Um, Not to say I don't have issues still, but because I do.
Yeah, I
But
think it's like it's not that doing this stuff will make us perfect, although that would be a great idea to get to that Buddha Jesus state where we can walk on water and not eat. But it's more about the
right,
journey and like always striving to grow and to learn from every situation you
right,
can.
right. So I had got these cards and I just started sitting down to really answer questions about my past lives. So it was like I decided to take signifier cards. Like I have these past life oracle cards that I just got, and I used them as signifier cards. I don't know if that's
What does that
the
mean again?
proper term from them, but it's like I want to work on this, so I'm going to use this as a representation
Mm.
for what the other cards are going to talk about. So it was like I chose 5 different past lives that I knew of for certain, and I just went one by one with the rest of my oracle card decks and asked specific questions about that life, to try to find out how I could heal those lives properly and my trauma from those lives and what that trauma was. So, for me, I wanted to share with everybody, more than anything, is that it really did make a difference to use the signifier card. Like, I felt like I got more precise answers because it was like I took that signifier card and I was like, I rubbed it over the top of my other cards after I had shuffled them and said this, or before I had shuffled them. And I was like, this is the card that I'm talking about, this life right here. And then I feel like the cards just spoke to me through, the rest of the cards just kind of spoke to me. They gave me the answers, like a whole story.
Yeah,
Like,
to expand on what that one would
right,
say.
right.
Was this
Yeah.
the cards that you had video shared with me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say what they are because I feel like if you want to, that's your tale to tell. But when you
Right.
were showing me the cards you got, I felt like I was gasping because it was literally matching everything you've been digging into.
Right. Yeah. Like I got the Atlantis card, a nun card, Celtic. I got two other, Alien, like Alien.
You
And there
always
was
get
something
alien
else.
in your readings.
Yes, always. And
And
so it was just
nun. You've been
crazy.
told you've been a
Yeah, a
nun many
nun.
times.
Yep, a nun and a shaman. So it was kind
Mm-hmm.
of nice. Like with those, I was able to dig more into it. But it was like I did it with intention. I did it with specific questions. I read by intuition. There were a few cards that I needed some clarification on because I didn't know the meaning behind it. So I did use my phone. So I was like, you guys use your tools. And I loved using multiple decks. I think, I kid you not, and this is going to sound bad that I even have this many decks, but I think I used 8 different decks to get the answers that I need, but that's what it took
Mm-hmm.
for me to get those answers.
And it's really helpful
Hmm.
because I sometimes will like pull maybe just the Rider Waite deck and you're just like, but what
Hmm.
does it really mean? So then if you like, what is the card that you're confused on? Draw a couple more, maybe
Hmm.
just an oracle card, and the oracle card has a different language and it might spell it out for you. Or maybe it's a
Hmm.
mantra card or a spirit animal. And like, so you can like, they can be married together and tell the story in a new language if you let them.
Right. Where it's like, and I've even incorporated tarot with my oracle cards, like you were saying. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, dang, I can really get finite answers. Whereas before, when I was just reading tarot only with just one deck, with nothing else, just this one deck, I feel like
Right.
I wasn't getting. I was just getting these cryptic answers, and I had to fill in the blanks.
Right.
So,
It is harder.
hmm,
Man, and it's like every time you look into your past life, you keep finding out more about mine, and like all of mine
yes,
keep lining up too. Like I keep getting told that I was like persecuted or
hmm,
imprisoned, controlled, betrayed, broken
hmm,
heart, was probably a witch who got used and prosecuted for it. And so for
right,
me in my daily shadows, it's constantly control is the trigger. uh
hmm,
Being told to go somewhere, my time being feeling like it's not my time and other people's time, or being demanded by from this or that. I just get so triggered when I don't have control. And so like it would make sense for my past lives to be that way, where I was locked up for being this or prosecuted or. And so it's just really interesting how you can clear your emotional baggage by examining that stuff. You have to look
right,
at those
absolutely,
triggers.
hmm,
Man, so when I
yeah,
was reading my tarot this last week or the week before, I got like some scary cards again, and I just was like, am I not done with this cycle of anxiety and death? But I feel like that this fall I'm gonna go through something. There's gonna be another death or another end of a cycle, so I don't know what's coming, and sometimes that can be scary with cards.
right, right. Because you're like, what does it mean? What does it all
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. And so I did the same thing where I was like, okay, I'm done with you. Let me pull some other types of cards. And so that's when I pulled the Oracle, and they were telling me I need to meditate, take time with nature, and
Hmm.
to go within. And so it was like, okay, whatever is coming, make sure that I'm as zen as fuck to prepare for it. And so I did the yoga. I've been, getting them elderberry gummies. We went out and enjoyed some nature recently. So like I'm trying to at least heed the warnings.
Right.
But you gotta, I guess, just roll with the punches and be more zen like and flow like the ocean. Because I'm like, well, I could worry and worry and worry about this card that tells me I'm gonna worry. It was the 9 of Swords for any tarot card slingers out there. You know that card is not a great one. It signifies like staying up all night and worrying. And so I saw that and I'm like, should I worry about the fact that I'm gonna worry, or should I just like meditate?
Right. Give yourself the tools so that you can surpass that little test that's coming to you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Needless to say, I struggle with anxiety, and
Same.
it's an ongoing journey.
Yeah, for
But I feel
sure.
like the meditation is the one thing that's really made a game changing difference with my anxiety. So I'm glad I'm starting
Right.
to get better at it again.
Yes. I
Ebb and
remember
flow.
Yes, I remember when we first started podcasts, you weren't much of a meditator too much. Like you did it
No,
a little bit, but not a lot.
it was like a brand new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I
now look
avoided
at
it
you.
because I was going through some like personal junk. And I knew that
Sure.
by going there, it would open up and make me deal with it. And so now I'm like,
Right.
all right, I'm ready to deal with it because I can just fly out the window. It's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You've surpassed it.
Yeah.
You have the tools at your disposal.
Right, exactly. I like that you say that because you have the tools. Like, that's what it is. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, well, I went through something hard once. Am I not done? But it's like,
Right.
no, it's called life. Like, you
Right.
have to keep using your tools to get through life in different stages.
Exactly. They're like, oh, here's a bill you weren't expecting. Oh, by
Hmm.
the way, here's an emotion that's been buried, for 500 million years from your first life that
Right.
you've ever had.
Let
You're like,
alone all the baggage of 2020.
right. Exactly. Oh, baggage.
Yeah, let's all try to
Okay.
work on our own baggage. That's pretty much all we're
Yes.
trying to say. We're going to get
Yeah,
through it together.
absolutely. Do that shadow work. Do that Reiki. We're going to get through it.
So, should we
Okay.
move on to a lighter topic and how we had fun?
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. So, our main topic today is ocean and beach magic. And we're super excited because yesterday we got to take a trip to the ocean together.
Yes, and we were social distanced. We've had separate
Hmm.
cars, and it was like pretty remote area. So I'm trying to just put it out there. We are still obeying all the laws of social
Yes.
distancing,
Yeah.
and we recommend our listeners do the same.
Yes. I did not follow the rules of the sun though and forgot to put enough SPF on my face, and I look like Raggedy Ann now.
I do have
Got
a red
red
nose
cheeks.
too.
Yeah, red nose, red cheeks, red forehead.
I'm honestly disappointed in my moisturizer I mentioned to you because it had SPF in it, and I was like, this
Hmm.
is going to be all I need. No,
Yeah.
I'm still the goth kid type skin where if you go on the beach, you will turn red. Don't forget that. And I usually would use
Yep.
like 110 SPF, although I've learned recently that that doesn't really exist nor matter. And like the best kind
Right.
of sunscreen you can use is actually infant sunscreen because no one will,
Oh.
like most companies put the best stuff in the infant stuff and it's just like simple
Hmm.
good.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't listen to my own advice sometimes.
Right.
But we did
Same.
have a lot of fun, and like that was probably the first time
Yes.
we've been out since our graveyard trip. And so,
Hmm.
really, as far as 2020 goes, this was like our big outing. We got to see the ocean, which is just so spiritual, so cleansing, and the
Oh,
salts,
restorative.
restorative,
Yeah.
and just we got to see birds flying, and it was really, really great just to chill there.
Hmm. Yeah, I had a really fun experience too because we got there first. And then my kids were like, well, when is Sharon coming? And I was like, let me just see. And I was like seriously sitting there for a second trying to see where you were at. And I saw you over this bridge. And I was like, oh, I know exactly where that's at. Like in my mind's eye, like I was like, oh shit, I shouldn't be looking through her eyes, right? My kids were like, Sharon's not going to mind.
Oh wow. So yeah, just to clarify, she doesn't mean she was looking at my GPS signal or anything. She's
No.
like trying to warg through my eyes and see what I was seeing. And you
Right.
saw the
Which is,
bridge? That's insane.
it's such an invasion of privacy.
I feel like I would be really glad that you were with me on the bridge. My anxiety peaks when I'm on edges when I'm in a car. So I don't
Hmm.
like being on
Hmm.
the edge of a cliff on a bridge. Like I don't like to look out if I'm the driver. It just too much for me.
Sure.
And I was just thinking
Hmm.
about Mothman crossing this bridge over the ocean and like please don't see Mothman because if you see Mothman it's a harbinger of doom and then on this bridge is going to fall. And what if this bridge falls? Oh my god, the bridge fall collapse. And so like just that's sometimes how bad my anxiety is. But I was also like thinking about how bridges are magical and how they're
Hmm.
crossroads and there's supernatural energies about them. So like it's literally the yin yang of your brain being like, nah, this is cool. This is cool.
Right. Right.
So
I
if
get
you were
that.
in my mind with me, maybe you were the voice telling me, nah, Sharon, it's cool. Because that's typically what you do when we're in paranormal investigating. You kind of keep me calm.
Right. I did say, don't worry, you got this when I saw
Oh,
where you were at. And then it was funny because, like, I told my son had to use the restroom, and I was like, and he's an adult, so he can hold it longer than if it were a child. So I was like, just wait. We're going to go up there at this specific time. I'll let you know because, and then I just felt like you were getting close. And I was like, it's time for us to go. So we walked up to the bathroom. And while he was going to the bathroom, I saw your car pull in.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I did it.
That is so cool. That is so cool. Like, because when we got there, me and my dog, I should say, as in the we, I got there and like my phone had no reception because I like looked to try to like text you and I wasn't able to, but like I literally had no anxiety about it. Like I felt so calm, which sometimes for me can be hard, as
Sure.
I've mentioned. And I was like, it's fine. Like I'll just go find her. And so it was just really cool that you had come up at the right moment, like listening to that intuition. Yay.
And it was so funny because I know about your anxiety. So I was like, I need to be there when she gets there. So she doesn't get anxious.
So, dude, I am honestly really proud of myself because I don't know if this is like a woman thing, but sometimes you're told that you shouldn't go alone, that you need a partner. Right. And like going from being in a long-term relationship to being single, I remember my first like week of feeling as a single woman, I was scared. I was scared to go out by myself. And it was just like, how little did my life become or my mind become because like you can do whatever you want. Like what is stopping you? And like, why are you shaking? Why are you worried? And to now being able to go like on a 2-hour road trip by myself, just me and my dog, and like completely emotionally having a freaking great time listening to paranormal podcasts, singing loudly to music and looking at the farms and like feeling really independent, you know?
Yeah, it's awesome. And you know, I've been there too. I was the same exact way. And it is that first trip that you take on your own without your significant other and you're like, whoa, I am still this badass person.
Yeah.
I still have it in here in me.
Right. I don't know if like when you're in a relationship that you readjust you readjust a lot, I guess, for the other person. So maybe a part of your independence you forget. I don't know.
Right. I
don't know.
For sure. So what else did you love about our trip?
How this particular spot was great for finding hag stones or witches stones.
Yes. So I have this witch group on Facebook that I had followed. It's just for Oregon witches. And I kept seeing that all along the Oregon coast that everybody was finding hag stones. And I was like, is this just the time period? But they were saying that it's very odd to find them, but for some reason this year they're just showing up everywhere. So I was like, we are going to search for those here at this beach, and we were successful.
Yes. So if you guys don't know what hagstones are, they are rocks that have like almost perfect looking little circles in them, and it's like caused by the water being like eroding them, I guess, over time. So it'd be like riverbeds or oceans that you can find them. And I just knew that they were always associated with witches, probably because of Pinterest, to be honest. It's just like one of those things that like you could scroll through and be like, hagstones and 5 reasons why you need them, and they're so powerful for this and that. But yesterday I was like, well, let me go figure out exactly why and where did this all start from, and look into that. So if you're down, like I have some information on hagstones that I found.
Tell me.
Shout out to mysticalraven.com. I'll put the link below. But I was able to find that they had done a lot of great research that we're going to be diving in today. So it's actually the hagstone itself. It can be any stone as long as it has these little holes into it. So it's not like a particular type of rock or anything. And the I guess magical association has been going on for centuries. And they have all these different names depending on where you look. So they've been called witches' stones, adder stones, snake eggs, hex stones, fairy stones, holy stones, and druid's glass, which I thought sounded really badass.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And to be called fairy stones because of where we found them.
Oh my God, you're right. Like right where we found them, I found this little like, not I found, but like together there was just, I think you found it. You're the one who led us there. But when I looked over, I just was like, this is a place where a fairy would live. And it looked like a little cave, like a mini cave hole with like little greenery in it and the moss and the water dripping down. And I was like, that's like Fern Gully right there.
Yeah. And it had beautiful flowers. Oh, it's just lovely.
This tiny little crook that you could walk right by and not even look or like notice, but your intuition led us there.
Yeah, that's
So yeah,
awesome.
there's actually some lore related to fairies and the fairy realm. So they say
Okay.
like that you could look into the little holes, and I guess you could apparently like see fairies, or it'll like just looking if you look kind of like some of them have holes all the way through. So if you
Mm-hmm.
hold it up and look through that and then out in your surrounding world, it's going to help you peer into the unseen, and maybe it'll be like kind of like magical lenses in a sense to where it's like, oh shit, I actually see that there's a gnome portal over there or a fairy portal over there. So like people have been saying that for centuries that they're connected to the Fae realm.
That's awesome.
I know, I know. I've been really enjoying all the fairy magic and lore that I've been finding about, and like how ancient it is. It's really, really endearing.
Mm-hmm. It's so cool.
And they also have magic beliefs. So there's a common belief that magic cannot work on moving water, and then since the holes in the witch's stones are made of a force of water, that the stones themselves retain water's magical benefits and influence. So
Mm.
they're really associated to water magic, which I think is perfect for both of us being Pisces, and
Yeah.
like all my altars are always like water based, have Pisces stuff, very, very water based. So like you bet your ass, guys, I took some hagstones home. I have a
Yes.
really big one that I found, and it has 3 circles in it, and it kind of made me think of the triple goddess. And I was telling Wendy, I was like, I'm gonna use these holes to hold candles, and this is gonna be like a piece on my altar, and it's gonna be covered in wax and incense and like well loved and used. And
Yeah.
so to
It's
find
super
out,
cool.
I know. It's like to find out it's like water magic. It's so perfect.
It's awesome.
I also found out that there are some practitioners of Italian folk magic that believe that fairy stones can kind of bind a fairy to their service for a specific length of time. This could be looked at as a dangerous practice because, you know, we've talked about how fairies have trickster energy. They
Mm-hmm.
kind of do what they want. And if you have a fairy stone, you could wear it around your neck if it's like one of those small ones. So if you're going out looking for fairies, and if you have that on you, it's going to help you find them, and kind of like fine tune your fairy attentions and skills and attraction skills. And this is kind of cute. If you gather morning dew in a container and gently pour it through the hole in your fairy stone, and then you would anoint yourself with that dew, it's gonna help attract them. So I just like, oh my god, the idea of collecting morning dew, how cute.
It's so cool. It's like, oh, this is fairy perfume.
Yeah. And I guess that you would want to use that if your fairy rock was found in the forest, I believe. But if your
Okay.
fairy stone was found in an ocean, it's better to use for looking for like sea sprites, mermaids, and mermen.
Oh my gosh.
So we have mermaid rocks, mermaid fairy
Yes.
stones. I'm like, let me find me a merman. Let me look out. Oh, okay. No, I guess not. The dew thing is just for any stone. But if it's a
Okay.
forest fairy stone, then it helps you connect with tree spirits. So
Oh.
that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Another like lore with them is that a shaman would use them by making it like a little kind of like a charm kind of thing, where they would
Mm-hmm.
suspend it by a red cord. And that is kind of helpful when they're trying to peer between the veil between the two worlds and the fairy worlds, and do maybe some shaman work or work with like spirits and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're also used as pledge stones, giving the bearer of the stone the ability to know another if they had lied, basically, or spoken the truth.
Whoa.
Yeah, that seems like I don't know if that's something we could test.
It's very magical.
Yeah, like a lie detector test.
Mm-hmm.
And some believe that hagstones represent the sacred vagina of the goddess, and that they can be used to
Okay.
create powerful love spells by inserting a stone or a stick that fits exactly into the hole. You would make a request and then throw the connected pair into the sea.
Okay. Okay.
I'm like, I get that. It's kind of like phallic magic. That kind of reminds me of your
Yeah.
kids at the beach yesterday, because we just looked over at them and they all had sticks in the sand, like upright.
Yeah.
And we're like, are you guys doing magic right now?
And they were like, yes.
Yes. We're just like, okay, we'll leave you be. So if they had used the stones and the sticks, dang.
Yeah, I'm like, no, daughter, no.
We did not put the holes into the sticks, honey. No.
It's not time.
Another thing is that you could just basically tie these stones to anything you'd want to be protected. So apparently, like, seamen would do this. That sounds weird. I don't even like saying the word seamen. Pirates, men of the sea.
There we go.
They would tie them to their boats, and they would actually use hagstones to protect their boats.
Okay.
They're also known to regenerate your energy, to refresh your body, mind, and spirit. And you can heal with a stone if you hang it over your bed at night. I thought about it, but I really just thought about this giant stone crashing down on my freaking skull as I slept. Because I got a big hagstone. I didn't find any small ones.
Right. I found this little one that looked like a nose.
Yeah, you did find one small one. A lot of the ones I found were a little bit larger, which is why I feel like it's going to make great for altar decoration and maybe just like protection around the home. But yeah, I would like to get smaller ones and maybe hang them around. And I just love the idea of this witchy stone having like all these legends, and it's all because of like nature doing something weird where like water could erode a perfect circle into a rock.
Right. And I noticed that a couple of the hagstones that we found had actual shells and life that had grown into it somehow. I don't know how that works.
There's a shell
like
in mine for sure.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry if I even put one back because it was someone's home. Like there was a bug living in it, and I was like, okay, sorry, dude, I'll put your home back.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun, like looking for these hagstones.
It was
really
neat.
Nice
to be. Yeah, it was nice to be looking together too. And I know there was a point where we were walking more towards the water and I felt like drawn to certain places, and I found that amber colored stone for you.
Oh, that's right. You had told me about how you would always just like walk and find stones, like natural crystal type things. And I would be like, what? No, that can't be possible. And then you just like did it and then handed it to me. And I was literally like, you can't give this to me. It's too precious.
I'm like, but it was made for you. I think my future self left it here for you, or my past self, however time works. I don't know.
It's awesome. I definitely am excited to use all these things we found for magic in the future. So we should talk about beach magic and what kind of things do you like to incorporate in your altar and things like that?
Yes. So I know for certain that I love using sand. So I know that I brought a glass bottle, and my daughter did too. Hers was so cool though. She brought this like glass skull that used to be filled with bath salts, and she'd emptied it out and filled it with sand, and I put mine sand in my bottle. But I like to put those like on the altar. Sometimes you can substitute sand in your spell. Like if you're doing some sort of spell that called for an earth element, you can even replace it for like graveyard dirt in your spell. Or if you want to put like an offering out for a specific god or goddess, you could use that sand, especially if it is an ocean god or goddess.
Yeah, there's something really grounding about it, and I could see you putting it in like a bowl maybe and putting a candle in there, and it's supporting and holding the candle, and that being maybe your spell. And you could even divine with the wax, like we've talked about, how you could look and see how it drips into the sand and makes designs.
I know prior to, or at the beginning of coronavirus, I made this incense holder too, where I took an old candle holder and filled it with the beach sand that I had brought home, and then layered in shells and stones throughout it. And then that way I can use it as an incense holder now.
Yeah.
And I just do a spell every time I light the incense and put it in that specific holder.
And I love that you guys, you and your daughter, you got really cute bottles by recycling. Yeah. Like those were just like containers that had beauty products most likely, and that were also aesthetically pleasing. And that was great.
I love recycling.
Yeah.
I did come across this cool thing about how to make a specific witch bottle with sand, and I wanted to share that with everybody and with you. So I guess this specific witch bottle will help protect against psychic attacks. So, you know, if you're prone to getting those, you would want to maybe make this bottle. but instead of urine or other bodily fluid, you use ocean water in it, and then sand. And you can add in like broken seashells and jagged stones and small pieces of seaweed, and then write up your spell and use that as your witch's bottle. And then when you get home, you can either put it on your altar or bury it in your yard, or maybe even put it under your bed while you sleep, just in ways that you could use this little witch's bottle.
Cute. I feel like I'd be intimidated to use seaweed if I think it would make the bottle stinky.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I'd bury that bottle.
Yeah. And I don't even think you have to use a lot of water in there. I think you don't have to have equal elements. I think that you just need to make it aesthetically pleasing. Like ocean water can get stinky after you've had it for a while. So you don't have to use a ton of it unless you are going to take it home and bury it immediately. And then sure, why not? Just get a leak proof bottle.
Yeah.
We also got ocean water, which obviously could be used as a water element in any spell. But what I love about the ocean is that you can go to the ocean and ground yourself and align it just by simply putting your feet in there. Just your soles of your feet. You can take time to release your energy to the goddess in the water. Like every time I see the ocean, I think of it as a female goddess. So
Same.
It's just like she's got this great power, and she can become angry and happy and spiritual, and goes with the tides of the moon, just like in a way most females on earth are like. So I feel like she's just this great, beautiful, expansive thing.
Right.
And
I love
so-
to talk to the ocean too. Like
Yes.
when I'm there, I talk to the ocean as far as just like in my head, and it's just, different things. I think that at points in my life I might have asked for things or made wishes, but literally in this point in my life, all I'm really doing magically is expressing gratitude. And I'm just like, thank you for this and this and this, and like listing things I'm really thankful for. For me personally, I've just been practicing gratitude, and I think that's a great place to start and see what the universe will do with that.
Yeah, for sure. It's powerful.
Yeah.
I know something I like to do too when I'm at the ocean, like, is standing at the water's edge and just kind of releasing anything that might be bothering me, because I feel like she can take it as a goddess and use that for something else.
Same. Because you can just like release your emotional problems or fears of judgment, like whatever it is, as the cleansing salt water is coming at your feet. You feel the sand maybe sink a little bit down, like really feel that connection to the earth, and release that bullshit. Let it wash back into the ocean, and it's just like cleansing it out of you.
Right. And sometimes you can just take a stick and write at the water's edge too, like things that you would like to release and let go of, and then when the water comes up, it'll wash that away. And so that can be a symbolization of you letting that go.
You could write runes, a rune. You could do just really pretty magical symbols, a heart, like whatever you think, or just something abstract, like an abstract little stick art real quick, let it wash away. That could be your frustration. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it has to be, I think, something that works for you intuitively in that moment. When you face the ocean, notice what are you being called to say to the ocean? Are you thankful? Are you asking for something? Are you, what are you here to do? I think your body can take over, and together with the earth, you can have a moment, a really cleansing moment, a refreshing moment.
Absolutely. I came across this thing too where you could collect ocean water in a spray bottle and then take it home and use it to banish negative energy in your home. So just going around your place. I mean, obviously you'd want to do this within a day or two of you bringing the ocean water home, but it's not going to hurt anything and it'll dissipate quickly. But a good way to kind of get stuff out of your home, negative energy out of your home.
Nice. I wonder if it would make your house smell too like the fresh ocean.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Very possibly.
And what else
Also
could
read
you do
that,
with the ocean water?
yes. So I read that you could bring some of it home and then use it in a bath spell. Like if you wanted to do a bubble bath or an oil bath and then wash yourself in it. And then that can remove hex or negative energy from yourself. So you could remove hexes with it. And I did not know that.
Yeah, that's cute. It also feels very
Yeah.
mermaidy.
Right?
Do some
Right?
mermaid spells or water magic while you're do some bath spells. Yes, I love
Mm-hmm.
it.
Absolutely. And then another thing that you can do is you can take the ocean water and just kind of put it around your property edge. And then that is supposed to kind of just maybe cause your home to feel a little more zen, a little more how you feel when you're at the ocean, a little bit like you can let go instead of feeling. Because sometimes when we get home, we're like rushing around, we're trying to get things done, and maybe we need to have a little more zen in our own home space.
Right.
And that can help you with that.
Yeah. The beach is one of those places
Yeah.
where it forces everyone to take a little more zen. Like you just sit.
Yeah,
A lot of more people just enjoy the air. Like it's a great place to be meditative.
absolutely. I also thought you might be able to take driftwood to do some things. Like I was seeing people who had taken driftwood or sticks that they found on the beach and made them into a wand.
Oh, awesome. So they whittled it down.
Yes, and then made it into something that they wanted. And I know we were talking yesterday. I was like, couldn't you do not a witch's ladder, but take something like a stick and then hang charms along it and use it as a decoration in your home?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I could have used it for a necklace hanger because I want to buy one of
Yes.
those for like $15, but it's like I could make one if I got rope and some little like nails.
Right.
Or you could put it on your
I,
altar. Like that's a really cute
yes.
idea to use as representation of earth and water because it's associated with the
Mm-hmm.
beach.
Exactly. I also came across this thing where you could use the driftwood like in a spell.
Yeah.
So you would do it at the beach while you were there. So you just find a piece of wood. It doesn't have to be big. It can be one of the smaller pieces, but then you take it and you either write or carve onto it what you
Yes.
want to release from your life. And then it could be something, maybe that you want to banish. You just need to put your intention into it while you're writing or carving into it. And then you're going to take that driftwood to the water and kind of request of the ocean to help you to take away this negative thing in your life. And so maybe once you get into that space, you choose to look at 9 waves. And as the waves come to you and they kind of hit your feet, with each wave as it goes away, you release a part of the memory, release a part of that negative energy that comes with it. And so you're just kind of like, okay, I'm releasing this right now to you. And the wave goes out and takes it with it. And on that 9th wave, as it comes in, you're just like, I'm going to give this to you. And you throw that driftwood out there into the water, let it drift out into the ocean and take that away, so that by the time you're done counting the waves and releasing that energy, you're releasing all that negative junk, negative thing that's been attached to you that you want to let go of.
I love that. Like the idea of having that time of 9 waves to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very occult, magical number 9.
Right.
I'd have to look it up to like
Mm-hmm.
read the list of reasons why, but it's a great
Right.
number in magic. And so I think next time I'm talking to the ocean, I'm going to remember that specifically because I could just look at 9 waves and have that meditation period and see how that
Right.
feels naturally if that's enough time. What I was thinking too, if you have the opportunity, maybe you're having a bonfire on the beach and you could take that carved in log and then burn it as well. That could be or maybe even take it home and burn it.
Yes.
I think that would be a really cool element too that you could do with the driftwood to dissipate whatever you're
Absolutely.
banishing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
love that.
Now I'm kind of upset I
Ugh.
left the driftwood. We should have got the driftwood.
No, we should have. I just left it behind.
It's really easy for us to become like the witch hoarders who just start taking a lot of nature. You're like, I need this stick and this twig and this rock. I need them all. But I already had like 3 big rocks and a dog. I was like very overwhelmed with all the crap I was taking.
Right. I know when my kids were digging, they found stones just buried in the sand, and you said that I could turn those into element stones. So I thought that would be fun to share with everybody too, is like, now I have these 4 stones that I'm going to decorate and turn into elements that I can place on my altar.
Yes. I love having representation on the altar of elements, and what's better to use than actual elements, rocks, you know what I mean? Like everything from nature on your altar, when it's placed in a purposeful way or a meaningful way, and it's working with nature and your manifestations, and all these things are coming together, and what they represent and what they radiate. It's just like very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always use like seashells and stuff already. So like for me, seashells is a part of my everyday altar because I'm a Pisces. I feel like I always have to have it.
Yeah. I've the last like maybe 4 or 5 years, I've had these go-to elements of shells going on. And so these hagstones, I'm just so excited to incorporate, and really thankful. That's my theme. I'm very thankful for them.
Yes. I didn't even think about it too, but we could have taken feathers while we were there. We saw tons of them. But just adding a feather to your altar could represent air. I'm sure there's a bunch of other things that you could do, like using it in your sage process with this feather to banish and remove that negative energy from your house.
Right. And different colored feathers or different types of bird feathers would have different representations and all that kind of good stuff. And that's another really powerful thing. That's another synchronicity that we had at the beach. Birds, or is that we saw another pair of like ravens or crows. It was 3 again.
3.
And last time we were out together, we saw 3. And I actually ended up like looking it up. And like, if you're looking at the historical context, it's usually a bad omen.
Oh no.
It's usually like something's coming, or like a death. And so it made me think of like Practical Magic when they had the Black Watch beetle, and like when they heard this beetle haunting them and their family at the beach, they knew that like the husband was going to die soon. And so I was like, are these crows death omens, or is that just like because they're black animals, they had this association with negativity and bullshit, like how people do with black cats, you know? Right. And so I feel like it's probably not true. And so I don't know what pagans would say about 3 crows. I know that Odin had a pair of 2 crows, but they were associated with war. So I just don't know what our 3 crows mean. But intuitively, when I see them, I'm happy. I feel very content. They make me think of witchiness and Odin. So I feel good, but I don't know.
Right. Man. When I saw them, I was thinking Maid Mother Crone.
Oh, yes.
That was what I thought. Yeah.
Yes. I love that, because that's a triple goddess and the 3 stages of a woman's life. And us being together, I think that we are radiating the female energy a lot, and like this divine feminine energy.
Right. And to be fair, we were Maid Mother Crone yesterday because my daughter was there too. So that was us.
That's crazy to think about. I'm like, wait, you as a crone and me as a mother? Like, we have to think about our ages. Like, what?
Yeah. I'm like, but technically I'm going into crone stage. My children are all adults now, and I am a crone.
I'm not ready for you to be a crone, because I'm not ready to be a mother. See, I have like worries.
You are a mother. You have animals that you take care of.
I'm a mother. That's about all I can handle, guys. That's gonna be
okay.
That's about it.
That's okay. Yeah. I just feel like we had such a good time. It was nice. We didn't even get to really explore all the things I wanted to explore, but I think with Corona, we had to reel it back a little bit. Like, I wanted to go into the forest area, but there were a bunch of trees that had been knocked down. It's very fairy-like in the forest outside of the beach that we were at.
Yeah, you can see that nature is taking over because there's less traffic of humans, and it's kind of beautiful. Like, I was just thinking, like, oh, these animals must love it.
Yeah, moss everywhere. It was just lovely.
I was thankful to actually get outside and get some vitamin D and sunshine.
Me too.
And to see the ocean. And I know we didn't have like a massive circle like in the craft or anything, but it still felt very magical. And we got stuff to take home for our altars and to be a part of our practice. So it's really exciting.
Something that we've wanted to do for a while. finally had an opportunity.
As
Oh
far
my
as
gosh.
other things that we haven't mentioned in beach magic, something that comes to mind is I think that there can be like sunrise and sunset magic, as
Yes.
well as moon magic. But like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, at least in my family, it was a thing to be like, okay, we're gonna watch the sunset at the beach. Like, let's do
Yeah.
that. And so I think that you could go through a lot of shadow work internally, or do a whole like internal, just like processing of emotions or magic while you're watching the sunset go, and it'd be very
Mm-hmm.
powerful to work with the, I think, the sun in that sense,
Sure.
going through
Because
that
you could even
transition.
correlate, you could be like, oh, the sun, the waves, all
Mm-hmm.
of it. You can really use it
Mm-hmm.
to release. I know I've done a lot of contemplation at sunset on the beach before too.
Yeah.
It's just nice to be sitting there. It's this kind of, the day is done, and I could just let the ocean take all this pain or negativity that I might have been feeling throughout the week.
When I'm brave enough to actually get in the ocean and, go that far, like, okay, I'm going to be cold, I'm going to be wet, but it's going to be fun. It's a commitment.
Yeah.
It makes me like very childlike, like it's just jumping around and giggling and
Mm-hmm.
playful. Like it is very restorative in that sense, like you were saying. It kind of restores you to your youth in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. We saw people up there to their necks,
Mm-hmm.
like out in the water. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's not that warm.
They're living their life. I mean, when I was younger, that was my thing. I was like, you old people just sitting on a blanket? I'm in the ocean. Well, now I'm an old person just sitting on a blanket, and I love it.
Me too. I was that same way. I was always jumping waves as a kid,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
And now I'm more back. I mean, I'll still go in the water, but it's like
If
not
maybe we
above
had
the
a place
knee.
to stay, but we had to drive
Yes.
back.
Yeah, we had to drive back. And it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know about you, but when I'm there, I always feel kind of tired afterwards because it
Mm-hmm.
was
Oh, that
this,
sun.
yeah, all that sun and the release and the just, even though it is restorative, you still have to recover from that and go over that and process it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My dog was conked out. We took a shower together, which sounds hilarious, but I was like too tired to have two separate bath times. So I was like, you're getting in with me. And like I just started by cleaning her first, and then I cleaned
And then
myself, and then we got out, and then I played Animal Crossing, and she was dead, just tired, conked out.
See,
So
you are a mother. I'm laughing over here. I'm like, that is a mother thing. I have done that with my dogs before.
yeah, it's just like it was a twofer, and it honestly saved me some time.
Yes. Yeah. Other people are like, oh my God.
I know. I
I've
was
held
like,
my dog.
is
Yeah,
this
like a
abuse?
baby.
I just thought
No.
about it. I was like, am I abusing her by being naked in front of my dog? But she's
No.
naked all day. I don't think she cared. She
No.
probably was just offended by being wet. She's not a fan of baths in general. But
Oh,
maybe she
yeah,
was
yeah,
happier that
yeah.
I was there with her. She's always happy together.
Yeah.
At
I
least
know
I
I
tell
used to have
myself.
this. Yeah. I know my little poodle Minnie that I used to have that I remember when she was younger that I brought her into the bath with me. Not a bath, but a shower.
Mm-hmm.
And I held her in my arms up against my heart and I could just feel her love. And
Yes.
she like laid her head right on my shoulder, like she fell asleep. She was so comfortable.
Aw.
I was like,
That is
oh
so
my
cute.
God.
There are
It's like
literally
you can't.
times you can feel your pet's energy. Like when my cats sit on
Yes.
me and they start purring, like I can feel my heart warming up and like just beaming. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, thanks, buddy. I can feel your love.
It's so lovely.
It is.
Oh.
Well, guys, I'm curious to see how y'all will practice beach magic. Maybe how have you
Yeah.
done it in the I can't even speak. How have you done it before? How are you guys gonna do it later? Let us know, because there's so many
Yeah.
ideas, I think, as far as incorporating the ocean, and everything it has to offer in your practice. And we barely like scratched the surface here today.
Right. Yeah, there's so many things you can do. But yeah, share your stories with us. We'd love to hear them.
Yes, send in your emails to cousinscoven2@gmail.com, and we will be posting episodes every Wednesday. You can find our podcast anywhere podcasts can really be found. All of our Coven links are going to be listed below if you want to join our Patreon, where we do after shows. If you want to come over to our blog, check out the merch, just send us a message. We love hearing from you guys, and thanks for all the support and all the listens.
And may you find happiness in your heart, love for yourself, and join each other. Blessings to all.